Hey, good morning and welcome to Midtown Church at Home. Listen, we're so excited that you decided to be with us today. I'm pumped for Thanksgiving. Why don't you go ahead right now and let me know where you're watching from. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Some people are. I've heard some people say they're already starting their Thanksgiving travels. Man, I wish I could be you, to be honest with you. I'm ready for Thanksgiving. I'm ready to eat as much as I can in where my parents live in Cincinnati area. There's a restaurant called Skyline Chili, and I am ready to honestly just eat my weight in Skyline. So, why don't you right now go ahead, just tell me where you're watching from, maybe what city, what state, even what country you're tuning in from today. I want to know, and we just want to give you a shout out, say hello, see how everything is going. And I'm ready to get this started. So, background story to kind of everything for those that aren't familiar with Midtown Church. We are basically right now in a relaunch for what we started back in November of 2019. We had our launch team meetings. We met with some of our team members. We were planning, we were strategizing, we were looking, we were, goal setting, all those things. And then this crazy, stupid pandemic called COVID hit. And here's the thing: I've had a lot of people ask and wonder and send some emails and texts, and I'm totally fine with that because people are interested, but still want to know kind of what's going on. And the hard part is we weren't able to start right then, but the kind of the cool part is we get to restart now. And so that's where we're at. We're in a phase of relaunching and in a phase of really kind of just doing this thing that we call Midtown. Not just the way that we want it, but the way that we believe God's asking us to do it. And so for some people, it looks totally different. And we are 100% solid and confident in that. Why? Because we want to do what God's asking us to do, not just what we've always seen done or what we've always planned. We believe that the best thing that we could do is just be in the center of God's will. Now, what does that look like? It just simply means following Him, listening to Him, doing the best that we can. We're not going to get it right. We're not going to get it perfect. We're not always going to have the right thing to say at the right moment, but doing the best that we can to reach and love as many people as possible. And so some of you're like, I see rooftop houses in the background. Yeah, you do. And you're like, what are you like? Where are you at? I see some pillars and what is this? Well, welcome to my backyard. Welcome to our house. This is where we're at. And this is the cool part about Midtown right now is that, and I've said it before, I'll continue to say it, that until God helps us find the right place, that we believe is a place that is not just right in the sense of, wow, that looks cool or that looks great, but in a sense of us being wise and smart with the funds that we have so that we can have a place to meet in person. So here's my backyard. Here's what I see every morning, every night, and I love it. This is fun. This is a place that we get to reach still and talk to and hear from a lot of people, but not have some of the other stresses that really come along with buildings and all those other things right now. And so we're okay with that. We're good with that. But I wanted to this morning. I actually was in a place and around some people this week, and I heard a lot of different thoughts on succeeding, and I heard a lot of different thoughts on different ideas as far as what does church, what does ministry look like really in today's world and what we're all going through and what we see and what we experience and what we kind of hear on a daily basis. And I put a lot of different things, a lot of different questions out there to ask because I wanted to know kind of where people were, what they were thinking and what their mindset was and kind of what their mentality was about this idea of church and where we're at now. And I heard a lot of good things. I heard a lot of people talking about, this is what I think church is, and this is what I believe church is, and this is what we've always done. Which, I'm not here to critique anybody's vision or goals of what they would consider church is. That is not my goal. And I think anybody that does do that from a platform and with a microphone, unfortunately, it really just shows the heart and true colors of that individual on the inside, reflecting what they say on the outside. But I heard a statement by someone um, just in conversation this past week, and the idea of what this statement was basically this in a nutshell: that this person and their family, they moved to a specific place at a specific time. Yes, because they said that's what they believe they were supposed to do. Totally fine. Not here to question that. But it's sort of the framing behind what was said that really caught my attention, because I didn't just hear it one time. I've heard it multiple times over the last probably 3 or 4 weeks. And this idea that people are moving, they're doing different things in hopes of setting their self up to succeed. Now, we all understand and we all know what the word succeed means, and how strong of a word that really is, and the power of that word, and the idea behind the definition. But I got to thinking, is succeeding in today's terms, in what we're going through in the culture that we live, is succeeding simply just something that we always gain, meaning materialistic things? Is succeeding something that is just in our life, that we're able to count a score, so that means we're successful, or the amount of money that is or isn't in our bank account, or how many checks we can write, or how many houses we own, or how many cars we've bought? Is that the true definition of success? And if it is, what foundation of that down definition is really something that we can hold on to, grow from, and become better people? And so, in hearing different stories, I've heard of people talking about, well, they just want it to get to somewhere else, or they want it to be sometimes in a different church, or sometimes in a different job, because they wanted to succeed. Something where they were at wasn't enough, so they were looking for something much more. And the idea of where they were going is what would cause them to be successful. Now, I do understand that in some sense, but unfortunately, I don't know that I can fully comprehend, and maybe I'm the wrong one, but I don't know that I can comprehend the idea of success and just meaning, well, it simply is where I'm at when I want. Because unfortunately, there's a lot of times where we're at, we don't get what we want, but we still can truly be successful. So, today, here's what I want to talk about. And I've talked about this probably quite a bit, but I can't get away from it, because I think we truly miss the definition of, unfortunately, what success is. So, what do you really need to succeed? Well, here's what I've kind of come up with, and the conclusion that my mind has come up with and my heart's come up with. And really, this is for people from any different background, from any different place, from honestly, different parts of the country, different parts of the world. I believe, just kind of looking and kind of studying, and just really putting it out there for me to see with a wide lens instead of just a narrow lens of where I'm at. I really believe what we need to succeed is is and will always be God's grace. God's grace. Um, how we get there might look different. What we're going through will definitely be different as individuals. But I think really, to understand and to really answer the question, what do you need to succeed? I think that the answer is and always will be God's grace. God's grace. But what is God's grace? Well, that's what I want to answer today. That's what I kind of want to talk about for the next few moments. What is God's grace? So I just want to give us a few facts about grace, okay? So if you have a pen, if you have a paper, if you have your iPad or your phone, why don't you just jot these few things down, write them down, kind of think about them over the next few days. And then, even if you want, why don't you just kind of let's start a conversation about this idea of God's grace? Because I think we're missing it sometimes. And if we could truly understand some facts about God's grace, I wonder what would our life look like, feel like, live out to be tomorrow? So here's just a few facts about God's grace. I want to read from Ephesians 2:8 first. It says this: "For it is by grace you have been saved through the faith, and this is not yourselves from yourselves. It is a gift from God." Now, we talked about this last week, how grace from God is truly a gift. Why is it a gift? Because it's free. It's given not just to specific people, but it's a gift for everyone from anywhere at any time. But see, I really believe that one fact about how do we succeed and what is grace, well, we have to understand that grace is a gift. Grace is a gift. Sometimes it's hard to accept gifts from people because they want something from you, right? Just like the lady at the well in John chapter 4. See, the lady at the well in John chapter 4, she had been one of those people that was searching out who she was, trying to find her identity and attaching herself to other people. And so she had all of these boyfriends and husbands and all these people in her life that she was trying to find out who she was by trying to find out and really kind of accept the fact that somebody else was really going to identify her individually. But see, the problem is she received so much from people that it was hard for her at first, when Jesus showed up at her well, to receive a free gift of grace, because she thought he was there just to get something from her. But in all reality, Jesus showed up on the scene at the well where he wasn't supposed to be, to give everything to her. Why? Because he's just that good. He wasn't there to cause fireworks to go off and say, "Hey, look at me." He wasn't there to cause tension. He wasn't there to cause riots. He wasn't there to try to make a statement. The only thing he was there to do was to simply show grace to a lady who didn't even know how to gift or get a gift from anyone else, because she thought she was worth nothing and that everybody was just trying to take everything from her. But he showed up on the scene to give everything to her. See, but with God, it's different. It's different. It's different because he just wants a relationship with us. So, point number one: what is a fact about this idea of grace that really causes us to become people who succeed? Well, grace is a gift. So here's number two: grace is repetitive. Now, in Titus, it says this in Titus 2:11, chapter 2, verse 11 through 12. It says, "For the grace of God has appeared, bringing salvation for all people, training us to renounce ungodliness and worldly passions, and to live self-controlled, upright, and godly lives in the present age." See, one thing that I know and that I can tell you as a human being is that if it wasn't for the repetitive type grace that God freely gives in his gift to us, I would not be here. I would not be talking. I would not be able to say that I have what God has given us. I don't know that I'd even be married. Why? Because it's the grace of God that carried me through my stupid years to help me meet my amazing wife, who continued and helps me become a better person every year. See, if you don't ask for God's grace every day, you can expect extremely difficult days. And so I'm so glad that even on my worst day, God's grace doesn't halt, doesn't pause, doesn't stop, doesn't say, "No, it's not for you." No, even on my worst day, even in my most crappiest moment, even on the suckiest year, like 2020, God's grace was still repetitive, was still something that happened every single day. that even for the person that may say, I'm not sure that I even think or believe in this Jesus guy. Hey, listen, I'm not here to judge you. I'm just here to help us all understand, me included, and for the person that has been in church for 45 years, that the grace that God gives is so repetitive that you can't even keep count. Why? Because his grace has been given to you when you didn't even expect it, when you didn't even at sometimes want it because you thought you were succeeding on your own. But in reality, the only way that you and I succeed every single day is by the grace that is given, that is shown, that is absolutely free every single moment. I need to take a coffee break because it's a little bit chilly out, and I love coffee, so I'm just going to drink coffee. If you have coffee with you right now, why don't you just take a little sip? Take a little sip of coffee. I don't know what kind of coffee you all drink, but for those that put like 4 ounces of sugar and 45 ounces of creamer, I mean, if you want to call that coffee, hey, whatever, that's fine. It's not really coffee. It's more of a treat. But hey, whatever. We're good. Coffee's coffee. Okay. So let's get back to this. So, how do we succeed? Well, we succeed by grace, and grace is a gift. Grace is repetitive. Then the next thing I want to talk about is this idea that grace is abundant. Grace is abundant. See, I think this is one of the things that I think we mess up in who Jesus is. Sometimes we think that there's a cap or a limit on how much grace is shown. In 2 Corinthians 9:8, it says this, and God is able to make all grace abound to you, so that having all sufficiency in all things at all times, you may abound in every good work. Or, in other words, everything you need is in Him. Everything we need, everything we're searching for, every answer that we don't know of. Yeah, I've had a lot of people say, "What about like why do bad things happen? Why do bad things happen to good people?" Well, I absolutely love what Judah Smith said a couple weeks ago. He said, "My question is, why do good things or why do good things happen to bad people?" Well, what do you mean, Jeff? I'm I'm a I'm at the core, I'm a sometimes bad person. But the reason good things still happen to you and to me is through nothing but the grace that is so abundant in Jesus. The grace that you and I sometimes don't even know that we are given, meaning you get another chance. See, grace is you do get what you don't deserve. You do get what you don't deserve. That is grace in a nutshell. And so why do good things? Why does Jeff Eastham get things when Jeff Eastham doesn't deserve things? You're probably better than I am, so I'm not going to use your name in that sentence. But why does Jeff Eastham get good things? Why do I get blessings that a lot of people talk about? Why do I get those things? Well, it's not because who I am. It's because of the grace who Jesus is. See, Jesus doesn't just give grace. Jesus is grace. He is grace every single day of our life. I think another reason that we succeed, and some people will disagree with me on this, but I choose to believe that if God says He is the God of everything, over everyone, on the earth, in the heavens, below the earth, that this idea of why we succeed is because grace isn't just for the Christian. Now, hear me when I say this. I get so tired of Christians getting on their high horse, feeling like just because they said in a moment that they believe in Jesus and they gave their heart to Jesus, that simply means that they are good for life, that they can from that point forward do all and anything they want. regardless of its sin or regardless of its wrong, because now they are entitled in that Jesus thought that they said yes to him. And so now everybody must say yes to them. Now, I think that as people who say we believe in Jesus, we have to be very careful to not get in this rut or get in this mindset that we are now better than others, that we are now more advanced than others, that now just because we said yes to him, that means we'll get more blessings from him. No, I don't know that I really see it that way anymore. Because if that were the case, that means that Jesus would just have died, would just have come on the earth and lived as a human being like you and I, just for a certain group of people. No, see, there's a lot of people who are blessed. They may not believe in Jesus right now, but see, one thing that they don't understand or maybe are confused about is that the reason that you and I are blessed, the reason that everybody who feels blessed, whether they say they know God or believe in Jesus or not, it's because it goes back to what we're talking about. That grace isn't just for Christians and for people who call themselves Jesus followers, who say, well, I can't give grace to other people because of how they're living and what they believe and what they say and the lifestyle that they're in. Listen, I just want to put this out there as a warning that if we can't give grace to everybody from anywhere, then it's going to be hard for us to fully understand grace in the moment that we need it the most. Because grace isn't something that is tied up in a box, delivered to just certain select few people. No, grace is abundant, is free, is everlasting. It's something that will never end, but it is not just for Christians. See, Jesus is out to tell everybody about himself. He wants people to know who he is. Ask Zacchaeus. Let's rewind the tape and go back into history when this little guy named Zacchaeus, who everyone hated, no one liked, they all thought he was just an imposter. They thought he was just a thief. They couldn't stand him. In fact, many people tried to kill him. Many people wanted his head on a block. But see, Jesus, he didn't just say, oh, Zacchaeus, I see you. My grace is not for you, but it's for these other people. No, in fact, the grace of Jesus ran after the man that everybody ran away from. Why? Because it's not the money that caused Zacchaeus to succeed later on in life. It wasn't the title. It wasn't the accolades. It wasn't the credits. It wasn't all these things. No, the way that he succeeded in life from that moment forward was by the grace that sat down with him at a table and said, listen, because you have made a place for me. Listen, now I'm going to show you grace for eternity. See, that's what Jesus does. And that's who Jesus is. Grace isn't just for the Christian. And my last point is this. How do we really succeed? Well, it's by grace. And what is grace? Grace is extraordinary. 2 Corinthians 12:9 says, but he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me. God's grace is a superpower that gives you what you need to succeed. See, the grace of God is truly a superpower that gives you the grace to succeed. His grace is something that really can't be explained because humans, even if you believe in Jesus, we don't still fully and can't comprehend the full definition of grace, because in our minds, sometimes certain people may not deserve it. But in Jesus's mind, in God's mind, the creator of the universe, the one who can stop the sun like he did in the Bible, the one who formed everything that you and I see, the one that can do everything that we ask, the one who's in charge of it all. See, his grace, it's extraordinary because there's nothing humanly ordinary about it. It's something that you and I have have been on this road and will continue to be on this road of learning, comprehending, understanding, and hopefully living, because the grace of God is so not just real, but the grace of God is so extraordinary that no ordinary thing can fully comprehend it. That it's so incredible, it's so amazing, it's so out of the realm of what humans even think or feel sometimes, that God just says, it's my grace. It's my grace that's going to cause you to succeed. It's my grace that's going to cause you to have the best life. Yeah, we may not like fully what we go through all the time. We may not understand all the things that happen, but we can count on and we can place our bets on that the grace of God will always be available at any time, at your darkest, weakest, most terrible hour. His grace is extraordinary. So here's my challenge this week. As you go out, and as whether you believe in Jesus or not, as you go out trying to be the best person possible, I want to challenge you this week. Let's be successful, not in what we think we should be succeeding in, but let's be successful in letting this world and letting the culture and letting the places that we live in, that we walk in, that we see every day. Let's let success be something that is actually dictated by the grace that we are not just asking for, but by the grace that we are freely giving to others that maybe last week you didn't give a chance or a shot at. Let your grace that you have received, let it overflow and outpour into somebody else's life that they're wishing and wanting someone to give them right this week. Let's let that grace become something that stands out more than your opinions that you think are correct. Let's let the grace, true grace, not just grace that we make up, but see, grace is something that, remember, you do get, but you don't deserve. How many of you could say, you know what? Yeah, I have a lot of stuff that I don't deserve. Maybe it's because of our attitudes, our past, our worries, our fears. We do have a lot of stuff. But remember, your stuff is only given because of His grace. What you have today and the success that you feel like you have today is only possible because of the grace that He has given 10 years ago, when you didn't like people, you couldn't stand people, you didn't like any of it. But it's His grace that covered your mess that's now allowing you to have so much that you don't deserve. And what if today the grace that others are searching for can be freely given from you because you've been freely given it by Him? Let's be grace givers this week. Let's be people who choose to give grace instead of just thinking that our opinions are what's really going to change the society that some of us are hoping, wishing, and wanting to change. What if it hasn't changed yet because the grace isn't being shown? Let's do it. Let's be grace givers. Hey, listen, thanks for hanging out with us today. I'm pumped to be able to do and share thoughts like this. I'm ready for 2022. I don't know what, the future holds. I don't know everything that's going to go on, but I have to believe today that I still have, and you still have, and we still have a great future tomorrow. Yeah, it may not be fun all the time, but let's let the grace that God gives us, let's let that be something that we can count on, that can help us to be successful and better and greater tomorrow. Hey, listen, thanks for hanging out with us. I'm excited to continue to share. Watch out on social media for everything that's coming up. Yes, next week we've had some people ask, are we still going to have our November Friday giveaway? Absolutely. It's the last Friday of November. Yes, it is the big shopping day. And I don't know if you go out and you spend, 3 o'clock in the morning at Best Buy or wherever, hey, Amazon's good enough for me. So, but listen, we hope that you have a great Thanksgiving. Stay tuned. We're going to be giving you some updates. I will say this: there are some things in the works for Midtown, and I haven't even been able to share it fully with our team yet because there were some details that had to be filled in. But I'm pumped to be able to share a few things over the next couple weeks that looks like that, man, pieces are coming together, and I can't wait. I really am excited to see all that's going to happen, not just here but in your life. We're here for you. We love you. Let me pray over you, and I believe that you're going to have the best day today possible, and that you're going to have an amazing week. God, thank you so much for everything that you've blessed us with. God, I know that sometimes in this crazy culture, in this world that we live in, things are fast paced, things seem hard, things are difficult, confusing, all of that. But God, I pray that we would not count our successes in what we have, what we don't have, and how we feel, and the emotions of the week and the emotions of the day, how much our life just seems jumbled. God, let us remember that truly what it means to succeed is fully understanding what the concept and definition of grace is. And grace is something that's available. And grace is something that we need. But grace is also something that will carry us to a better place in our future. God, I pray, Lord, for grace over families. I pray for grace over marriages. I pray for grace over our kids and all that they're going through. God, right now, God, help us to continue to be the best version of us from you to others that we possibly can be in this crazy, sometimes fast-paced world that we live. God, thank you for today. I pray, God, that you would enlarge our territories, open up our eyes, open up our hearts to receive all that you want to do so we can give all that you want us to give. In Jesus' name. And everybody said, amen, amen. Hey, listen, thanks for hanging out with us today. We love you. I'm actually going to get up and stop the camera because we don't have like a full sound studio and video studio and all that yet. So that's what you're going to see. And this is like raw, real footage, not some amazing edited version that Jordan puts on other weeks. And shout out to him and shout out to our team. But hey, listen, I love you. Have a great day.